Good morning. You must be Finn. I'm Dean. Looks like you found the place.
Morning, thanks. Yeah, I've heard a lot about you.
Well, Finn, I'm flattered. So, how can I help you?
I have a real conundrum.
A conundrum.
An outsourcing one.
Okay, the outsourcing conundrum. Are you buying or providing?
We're providing outsourcing services inside our customers' facilities.
The inside outsourcing services, the most complex of all. You up for a walk?
Okay, where are we going?
To understand the mindset of great inside outsourcing service providers versus those who are just mediocre. The problem with many who face the outsourcing conundrum is that they view the problem as a maze. Look here. This is the maze most inside outsourcing service providers see.
To be honest, Dean, this is how my conundrum looks to me.
Well, it's actually a labyrinth with a clear path in and out. Let me help you. Look again. Notice any patterns?
Yeah, it almost looks like a rail line.
Very good. See any more?
I think I can see 3 patterns, interacting patterns, right?
Right. When you clear away all the unnecessary noise from the maze, you see 3 patterns. A path through the outsourcing conundrum labyrinth made up of 3 lines: purpose, process, and people.
Okay, and since they're connected, each line's critical to the others.
Excellent observation, Finn. And you're here at the beginning of purpose. The purpose line explains the why.
Why?
As simple as it sounds, if an inside outsourcing service provider understands why, what, how, when, where, and who, they can truly become great. But first, let's start our journey by focusing on why.
Define the need?
Our first stop to understanding the purpose of understanding the why.
Why what?
Well, why is your customer giving you this opportunity? And why you should consider it. To understand the why, you have to define the need, the strategic reason your customer is outsourcing this opportunity.
The why?
Yes, the why. You keep fishing to uncover your customer's true need. Great service providers throw back the obvious and seek out the true need, the why.
I think we're more like those two. We latch onto anything to rationalize the sale.
Most service providers do. Great ones put the time and energy to defining the need to deliver on the need.
And I guess if we don't understand the need, what appears to be a great opportunity can be an opportunity to fail.
Right. Customers can create lists of activities to outsource, but don't reveal or possibly even know why.
I can relate to that.
Your customers have strategic reasons for outsourcing, and great service providers seek to understand by defining the need.
Like risk. We found out the hard way that some customers outsource activities to move the risk to us.
Perfect example, Finn. There's nothing wrong with taking on outsourced services containing risk, as long as you know and assess your ability, capacity, and appetite for the risk.
Wouldn't it make sense for our customers' procurement groups to align the outsourced services with the skills and capacity of potential service providers?
Finn, you're preaching to the choir. You have to protect your company and people from a misaligned outsourcing opportunity by fishing to uncover why this opportunity is being outsourced.
Define scope. Is that where we look for what the customer wants to outsource?
Partially, Finn. Outlining what activities are required is a big part of defining the scope, but not the most important part if you wish to be great.
Interesting.
Many service providers only dig up what is near the surface. They see what activities are to be done, determine how to complete those activities, and do not dig much further. Others dig deeper and will uncover points of pain the customer is experiencing.
That's what we do. We think we're great if we can discover the customer's pain and sell to that pain.
The tactic of selling to pain is tried and true. Used it myself, but it's short-lived. But in defining your scope, you have to dig deep to find the true value. Uncovering the value you will bring to the customer and selling to that value is the most important thing. If you have dug deep enough to locate the value, you will have uncovered the pain and the what and the how.
So if you didn't define the need, it's pretty difficult to uncover the value.
Brilliant, Finn. Sure, you identify the key services and components of those services, but knowing how you uniquely bring value to the table through your offering to meet the customer's need is critical. So Finn, let me go out on a limb and say that you're experiencing depleting profit margins.
Yeah, and it's a pretty strong limb these days. Everyone's hanging on it.
I'd assume you'd like to get off the limb.
The key reasons I sought you out.
In the early years of outsourcing, at this stop, we would do no more than just define cost and price our contracts accordingly.
Cost plus markup to get your price?
Exactly. But today, the great service providers use a formula of cost plus value.
So those guys weighing their service offering based on what or how don't meet the customer's need.
And even the guy who dug to uncover the pain doesn't weigh in. He's close, but once he fixes the pain, the customer is going to look for ongoing value.
Oh, I've been taught that lesson. After the first year, a new customer forgets how bad it was before we started.
Really good customers drive their suppliers to not become the problem they were hired to fix. If value is not defined, the relationship with the customer becomes status quo and pricing becomes commoditized.
It's a very delicate balance, isn't it?
Yes, defining the value by aligning with your customer's current and future needs is the keystone for everything else.
Value, cost, price must be weighed against the customer's need to have a unique service offering.
Well said.
It's simple to grasp, but not so easy to accomplish.
Well, if it were simple, everyone would be great. It takes discipline and the right mindset. This is the one stop that is most overlooked.
Why is that?
Too many service providers rush to close the deal.
Huh?
Let me explain. So far, we have defined the needs of the customer, defined the scope, defined the value to determine our price. Now comes the moment of truth.
Will they buy?
Pretty close. What are the expectations of both parties, and how will success be measured?
Targets become the defined expectations for both parties.
Right. The goal is to produce a factual measure of success for the customer and your team.
To give clarity to my team on how to determine if we're meeting the customer's need?
Exactly. The real trick is to produce a simple picture of what success for everyone looks like. Here you go.
Who's that? He's everywhere.
He is. Many of his team are here. They possess the perfect mindset.
Like making sure the defined expectations are clear targets.
Exactly. And making sure that that level of clarity makes it to those who deliver the services.
I bet they'll regret skipping this stop.
You are 100% right.
Interesting stop. Redefine the need? What's with all the people heading down the escalator?
That escalator takes those service providers into commodity hell.
Commodity hell? Interesting term.
Once you head down that path, it's difficult to get back. Commodity hell is where service providers go who base their service purely on cost and price, and take their customers for granted and forget to check in and redefine the need.
It doesn't look like a profitable or pretty place, Dean.
To be a valued service provider, you can't become complacent with your customer, allowing them to become complacent with you.
Even if we've defined our expectations?
Especially if you've defined your expectations. Your customers' needs continue to evolve and change as they continue to compete in the market. You need to be ahead of the wave, or at least on that wave.
To keep from getting blindsided.
Exactly. And to keep your team sharp by regularly redefining the need and identifying what value you can bring to the equation and realign your expectations.
Busy place.
Impressive, isn't it? It's easy to get confused here. This stop is called Assemble, Align, and Assess. All three of the Outsourcing Conundrum lines meet here.
Purpose, process, and people, right?
Right. As you pointed out earlier, all three lines interact with each other. And this is where they all three intersect. All these people ride it every day. Many providers do not take the time to accurately weigh whether they are assembling, aligning, and assessing the critical processes against what the customer and your on-site teams need. So the processes they pull together are insufficient, and the teams charged with delivery are in trouble from day one.
Interesting. So we use our expectations to ensure we assemble and align what's required. Wish we would have done this before.
I know, I've seen so many service providers put good people in bad processes and lose them.
I mean, looking back, we've even frustrated some really good people and lost them because we didn't update the processes needed.
And that's common. The assessment of the critical process versus the changing needs of the customer is important.
It's probably critical to revisit this stop after we redefine the need.
It's very critical. So many don't and wonder why their teams struggle to keep up with their customers. Let's hop on before this takes off.
schedule and standardize? We're moving into the planning phase of the outsourcing conundrum?
Finn, as you are undoubtedly aware, in order to have a flawless execution, we must have a plan.
Every one of those processes that were picked up will need a schedule and a standard, won't they?
You're catching on quickly. The mechanics of a great plan are based on having a good schedule and a good set of standards outlining how each activity within each process must be completed.
Allowing for consistent and reliable delivery of the services. How flexible is that planning machine?
Oh, extremely. The planning must adapt to many, many different situations, but no situation should be entered into without a plan. Your schedules and standards deserve the attention they demand, regardless of the situation.
Where's he heading?
They must be starting up a new operation. Let's tag along and observe.
Deliver to standard, where we execute the plan.
If everything up to this point has been done well, this stop is much easier. If we took shortcuts, I think you know the result.
Oh, sadly, all too well.
See over there? A new inside outsourcing operation is underway.
It looks huge.
Yes, but no matter the size, if the team readying the operation for launch has the right mindset, it should proceed pretty smoothly.
It's starting to make sense. Our customers won't be happy if the structure for our deliver to standard is misaligned.
Finn, this is where, as they say, the rubber meets the road. Great service needs empowered and engaged employees, and they will not exist if correct structure has not been put in place. As customers become more satisfied and confident in the level of service, what do you see?
They become more engaged with the service provider and spend more time interacting with them.
The stops so far are designed to engage the customer by producing a process that empowers and engages the team.
Even the best laid plans have hiccups.
True.
And it's usually what you do about those hiccups that matters.
Agreed, Finn. Let's observe how this is handled. Layered inspection. The key here, Finn, is the word layered.
Why is that?
Many mediocre inside outsourcing providers look at this stop as just inspect. Chance to point out to the team where they failed.
As opposed to
Building a process that empowers the team to perform inspections for themselves.
actually giving them ownership of their operating standards?
Yes, then encouraging them with every error in delivery to help improve the standard.
Wow, that's a real change. Our supervisor uses inspection to only point out where we didn't comply.
How does that leave your team feeling?
Disheartened.
Let's break it down. Layered inspection relies on 3 layers: hands, heads, and hearts. The hands represent individual team members who are inspecting for compliance to the standard.
Just checking the boxes.
Team members who have engaged in their heads are thinking of better ways to perform the tasks.
Innovating.
Exactly. And team members who engage their hearts are not only innovating and improving, but understanding how their day-to-day activities impact their customers' products.
Thereby engaging the customer.
Inside outsourcing service providers can never achieve this level of engagement if the initial structure is not put in place.
The archway.
Yes, the full understanding and alignment of why the customer is outsourcing and needs to be done to meet their expectations.
It's a real culture change.
Very much so. If everyone is involved in the layered inspection, the team is constantly seeking out new problems to solve for the customer, as opposed to hiding them or hiding from them. Layered inspection should not only yield a higher level of team empowerment and engagement, but also information.
Data?
No. It is the job of the management team to visually present the data as information
Encouraging the team to act on it.
and take countermeasures to offset trends that aren't tracking favorably.
So by making the information visible, the team sees the need for countermeasures to improve the whole service delivery.
Creating a higher level of collaboration between those who do the work, manage the work, and the customer.
We've never connected these dots, but it's a source of ongoing value for the customer.
It is the route to develop an engaged customer.
Looks familiar.
Yeah, now that we've followed the mindset of the great inside outsourcing service providers through purpose and process, it's time to
Discuss the people.
We've talked about how many mediocre service providers miss a few of the stops. Many miss this line completely.
Completely?
Many do not understand how important it is to find the right people who align with the culture of their company and meet the needs of their customers.
Yeah, warm body syndrome.
Yes, sadly.
Is it fair to guess that STAR is an acronym?
Certainly is. STAR is a complete people strategy and mindset to finding and developing the right people who fit each situation.
What do the letters stand for?
Select, train, assess, and recognize.
Select.
Yes, select, but to a target. If we did not fully complete the purpose line and the process line, we don't have a clear picture of what our targeted team needs to look like.
They're all different shapes and sizes.
If you have good targets, you can select from your candidates based on their attitude, skills, and capacity.
Yeah, each person's unique skills need to line up with a specific position to meet the desired expectations.
Right. Each step is designed to qualify a candidate to our target, starting first with behavior, how they will act. Second is skills. Third is their experience.
Seems like a lot of people got turned away.
Yes, not everyone fits the target. You have to be mindful of who gets put on the team.
True. It's harder to fix the lack of fit after they're hired, and more expensive and unfair.
Very unfair, very unsafe, and very expensive for everyone concerned.
If you hire to a target, do you also train to a target?
Absolutely. The first target is to orient everyone into the situation where they're being hired to work, to understand the culture of your company, and equally as important, the culture of your customer.
We find it pretty easy to teach the actual skills for each position.
Most service providers do. The key is to target the training, making them indispensable team players and problem solvers, driven to deliver on the needs of the customer.
These will also need to be realigned to meet the customer's changing needs.
As you are very quickly seeing, the path to navigate the labyrinth of the outsourcing conundrum is very interactive.
And requires a high level of discipline.
Really good service providers don't surprise their team with unknown performance results. The need for performance is mapped out ahead of time.
Aligned to the defined expectations.
Fully aligned.
So what's the role of these managers and coaches?
To facilitate team and individual improvements and ensure those individuals belong on the team.
Enhancing team morale and performance?
Yes, which provides more team engagement.
Going full circle to improving customer engagement.
Exactly. The team is continually realigned with the new needs of the operation. To achieve this, both performance and potential for future performance need to be assessed.
And all new expectations clearly communicated as individual and team targets. Their contribution and results to the operation are very visible to everyone.
Yes, very visible and important. I will explain further at the next stop. This stop will show us why performance metrics need to be so visible. It's quite important.
How so?
Finn, in your years, have you had a situation where you recognized someone only to discover that by recognizing that individual, you created a morale problem for yourself?
Yeah, just recently.
If all the performance information is very visible, then the teams and the team members know who deserves recognition and who does not.
So, people, even though they know how they're doing, desire to be acknowledged?
Frequently, those who decide to work in the service business do so because they wish to serve. Subsequently, they also need to feel appreciated for their service.
Makes perfect sense.
If a team is cheered on through a race, they're more apt to win the race, assuming the right person was put into the race and trained for that race.
And they would be more apt to sign up for the next race as well.
And the one after that. They become very loyal and help you build your brand.
I guess as part of that, it's also important to recognize people who no longer fit the team.
It's only fair. There's a team somewhere where they do fit.
Good performers like to work with good performers.
So true.
So we're back to where purpose, process, and people intersect.
Yes, it's a lot to take in on one day, but you're welcome to come back and even bring some of your team with you.
You know, that's a good idea. The path is simple enough. But like so many things that appear simple, they're reliant on having a disciplined approach.
Those who are successful do not rely on their systems and tools. They rely on having a mindset that understands the relationship between purpose, process, and people.
If I can get that part right, the systems and tools will happen naturally.
And on those words, I'll let you get back to your team.
Hey, thanks, Dean. It was a great day.
One of many more to come, Finn.